if we are survivors. Violence and war are prevalent all over the planet. Every few seconds, one person is murdering another somewhere in this world. With the introduction of television in many countries, the murder rate has doubled within the last 15 years. One living entity is food for another. Not only do different nations attack each other, but members of the same ethnic groups, institutions, religious groups, and even families are constantly in conflict. The greatest violence is often the violence each individual perpetrates on him or herself through addictions, bad habits, and unhealthy lifestyles. The violence turned inwards on oneself produces depression and physical sickness. So I'll read. It's quite long, actually. You read the...
We can also stop in between, discuss a little, and then read.
Okay, yeah, I think I will discuss a little bit here. I've been in India the last 50 years. No, I'll fill basins first. Mukam karati vachalam bhangam nangate girinya kibantamam vande si guruntina tarinam. So I've been in India the last 50 years, and I happened to live in a village in Goa in the 80s, early 80s. And the village had no TV at that time. Actually, it was in the 70s. It was during Indira Gandhi's rule that TV came. And so there was a cartoon in the newspaper, and people were complaining to the Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, we're very hungry, we need food. Because they were exporting all their wheat to Russia, because Russia didn't have food, because they weren't getting any rain, because they weren't worshipping Krishna at that point. And so food was rationed. In Food for Life, they got arrested in Bombay for having extra rice. And so anyway, there was no food. So then a cartoon came in the newspaper that, people's coming to Indira Gandhi, we're very hungry, we need food. And she said, don't worry, very soon we'll have TV. So, and I was in the village when TV came. So before the TV came, every night everyone would go to each other's house, have dinner, and associate with different people, very social life. Then TV came, and we went to our friend's house like usual, and they were like zombies in front of the TV. Hello, how are you? No reply, no response. I saw it come to the village where I lived in, and the social life was over. They were just into the TV. And of course, there's a lot of violence also, but the main thing is our own, we have our own unhealthy lifestyles, our bad habits, and our crazy mind. And our crazy mind may kill us also. So this, Hare Krishna.
Please allow me to, please.
Yeah, this might work. I'm allergic to the other one.
Oh.
Yeah, roses, we'll see how long I can have them on. And roses are okay, usually. Right. One of the greatest sicknesses is cancer, which is among the world's greatest threats to healthy physical existence. It is no accident that many people develop cancer after a great trauma in their lives, such as the death of a dear one, a divorce, or loss of an important job. In these cases, a very upsetting event causes the mind to experience great disturbances, and such mental energy sends unhealthy messages that cause the various organs and tissues in the body to attack each other. So it's interesting that Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, talks about having cancer after a trauma. But he didn't have cancer after a trauma. He was preaching worldwide, writing so many books. So why did cancer come upon him? I was somewhere in I think the author's preface, or somewhere in the beginning, he was saying that he was actually praying that all the problems of the devotees come on him. And that's why he got sick. As soon as he prayed that, he got cancer, he got so many diabetes, so many things went wrong. So he was praying so that others would not suffer. So he was praying all the Gurukuli's suffering would come on him. Now we're hearing about different problems that happened in our movement and unhealthy problems. And so he was praying that let all the suffering that these devotees are going through, let it come on me. And that's why he got the cancer. That's why, as soon as he prayed that, then cancer and all these diseases came. Let's see. Okay, I'll just read a little bit more. Cancer cells are like intruding enemies that are trained for espionage. They sneak into the body, often hiding for many years, to later surface with great destructive power, just as Maya, or evil, is always around and waiting for an opportunity to capitalize whenever there is a weakness. So I am amongst the hundreds and millions of people attacked by cancer. Presently, tens of millions who are attacked by cancer have died. Tens of millions are dying, and millions are seeing themselves as cancer survivors. It is, however, an illusion that someone thinks they have survived cancer or any attack of death, for no one actually defeats or conquers death. At best, we can only postpone the inevitable, for death is still around the corner. Sometimes we hear people explain they are survivors of alcoholism, child abuse, abandonment by their parents, rape, battery, and other painful experiences. But actually, none of these people are survivors, for each has been traumatized by their difficulty, even though they have somewhat passed through these devastating experiences. Each person is marked by their past, and each person still carries impressions and wounds from their challenges, even into the present. Okay, so do we have any comments about that? How to survive trauma? I mean, we hear now, if you're on Facebook, you will hear a lot about trauma with our Gurukulis and things like that. And so, and there are some survivors, but it looks like most of them have not survived. The Krishna consciousness has not survived. So it is a real problem in our movement. So anybody have anything on that you'd like to share? Or yes?
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, you mentioned that Bhakti Tirtha Swami got this so-called cancer due to praying that he took upon all the sufferings from mankind. It reminds me of Jayapataka Maharaj, who is in a wheelchair, and I've been told that it's due to the fact that he initiated millions and millions of devotees, so all the karma came upon him.
Right.
But now I hear from you that it can also be that in an active way he himself prayed for getting into this situation.
Yeah, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj did do that.
Yeah.
He didn't take the karma of all mankind, just of the ISKCON devotees. He limited it.
Yes, I was wondering.
But it's enough.
I was wondering if Jayapataka Maharaj himself prayed for it.
Jayapataka, I really can't say. You would have to ask him. How would I know?
Kind of curious.
But he is taking it on himself by initiating so many disciples. Whole villages are getting initiated in Bengal. Bengal, yeah. Anybody else have? Yes, in the back.
Concerning the Gurukulis, you mentioned that most of them didn't survive.
Yeah.
I mean, their Krishna consciousness didn't survive the trauma they had. At the same time, it is mentioned that the suffering of one person may give more like openness to that person, to Krishna consciousness. So now that they had suffered, they think they had suffered within Krishna consciousness. So what is what would be the way for them to come back to Krishna consciousness? I personally had some. I'm a Gurukuli.
Oh, you're a guru. Oh, you look pretty young.
42.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I had my traumas when I was young as well, but somehow I was always attracted to Krishna, and I did, my own things for a few years, but then I came back and it became stronger. And so
Yeah, so actually, your question, how can we bring them back? So I also know there, he's a temple president in Atlanta, this Dayasara. He's a survivor. And I really, I heard his, I didn't read the whole thing because I'm too sensitive, but I heard his trauma recently. And my question to him would be, why did you stay? Yeah. So that's my question to you. You need to tell them why you continue in your Krishna consciousness. Why do you stay? Yes. Why did you come back? Because the thing with our youth is that they're born in Krishna consciousness, so they have so many good samskaras. They have opportunity to finish. You have opportunity to finish in this life, for sure. But at the same time, you have to join the movement. You're born into it, but that doesn't mean you join, because we weren't born into it, but we took the conscious decision to join this movement. Mm-hmm. So our Guru Kulis also have to take that conscious decision that yes, I'm going to go for Krishna consciousness. So, okay, would you like to answer that question, why you came back?
Well, younger, I had to taste somehow, even though at home it was kind of, very difficult. When I was going to the temple, for me it was like the oasis. It was so peaceful, and I really related with Brahmacharinis and just going out on Harinam. Somehow I had the taste at one point.
You got a taste.
That I remember my whole life. And
can't forget the taste.
Yeah, I didn't forget the taste, and so whatever I did in the other type of life after, I did see that it wasn't nothing as much taste. It's like, whatever I experienced. Right. I experienced a few things, but at the end, I realized that nothing is like Krishna.
That's right. Yeah.
As Krishna. So I think even though someone, let's say, is born in the movement, if they never had the taste because they never really choose Krishna, like you say, like they never made really the decision for themselves.
Right.
And maybe they never had the taste, so maybe.
Yeah, so it's important that before you leave you had a taste. You had some taste. So perhaps you can remind them, was there ever a time when you actually had a taste for that? And encourage them to follow that taste. That might be helpful. Yes. Okay, any other things in that? Oh.
I like the point that the cancer cells were lingering, just like darkness.
Cancer cells are lingering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with Maharaj too, they're lingering.
Yeah. What was that point?
Okay, let's see if I can find that. Cancer cells are like intruding enemies that are trained for espionage. They sneak into the body, often hiding for many years, to later surface with great destructive power, just as Maya or evil is always around and waiting for an opportunity to capitalize whenever there is a weakness. So he compares them to enemies just waiting to come in, looking for a weakness. Just like if there's a story in Bhagavatam where Diti was upset, so she wanted, because her 2 sons were killed because of Indra, so therefore she did a puja, a yagya, so that she would get a son to kill Indra. So Indra became her servant, and he was looking for any weakness, anytime she would forget to do something, and he found that and he entered. And so it's like that. Maya's waiting for us, that any weakness we have, then she can enter. So we have to make that choice, moment by moment, to choose Krishna. Choose Krishna, because Maya, if we're not thinking of Krishna, then the mind will certainly go somewhere else. Okay? You have something?
Yeah. So now the point was raised that sickness and those things, they come when there's a weakness somewhere. But on the other hand, we hear that everything that happens to devotees, even though it's an obstacle, is actually mercy of the Lord.
Yes. Is it mercy of the Lord? Yeah, it's not in this one, but in one of the others. Oh yes, there it is. Okay. Let's read up to that paragraph. It's a little bit where it's becoming mercy. Well, it's not exactly like that's the mercy. Okay, anyway. Many people meet regularly in support groups to check in and discuss how they are 5-year, 10-year, or 15-year survivors. It is wonderful that such support groups help people to be open and honest about their most difficult challenges. It is also very wonderful that such people can have a safe environment where they can discuss their problems with people who not only understand but fully empathize with them. However, many of these people have no identity other than being a survivor of a particular trauma. Constantly accepting and identifying themselves with the trauma can make them stagnant, and they may find their whole lives revolve around that which has traumatized them. So I think that's why they leave, that their trauma is their life, and that's all they can think of. And so there's support groups and all that. Their identity as a survivor is ambiguous because no one has really survived as a survivor is. Their identity as a survivor is ambiguous because no one has really survived anything. Their experiences remain a part of their consciousness and impact their being. Even if the experiences do not bring immediate devastation, death is still in the near future for all of us. No one actually defeats or conquers death. At best, we can only postpone the inevitable, for death is still around the corner. Very few people these days are surviving the devastating effects of Orthodox society. The attacks which come from gambling, meat-eating, intoxication, and illicit sex have fully captured most living entities. These great enemies basically enslave people because most accept these influences gladly. Actually, it's difficult for someone to avoid their influence and enslavements. Maya, or illusion, is stronger than anyone because she is a perfect servant of the Lord whose duty is to test the jivas and prepare them to eventually return back to the spiritual world. Therefore, no one can defeat her alone. She is surely an equal opportunity employer who does not discriminate. So then he quotes Gita 7:14, Daivi heshgunamayi mamamaya dirataya mamaye prapadyante mayamitantalantite. This divine energy of mind consisting of the 3 modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. When Maya attacks, it is difficult for anyone to defeat or conquer her influences. However, with sufficient help from Krishna and his special servants, Maya can easily be avoided and will even become a servant of such a devotee. When the fortunate living entity is blessed with special mercy, the great gift of prema descends upon him or her. Such a devotee will also not survive because the special mercy will change him forever. Having come in contact with bhava and prema just once, the devotee's life will never be the same. So that's not exactly that the disease is mercy, but that I did read it today. I was reading a little bit. I don't remember which one it was, but he was saying how, this cancer is mercy. How to see that as mercy? There's a verse in 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8, Srimad Bhagavatam, Tatena Kampam Susamikshmano, that I'm just hoping against hope for the mercy. And then, but at the same time, Bhujana Ivatma Kritam Vipakam, I tolerate the reactions to my past misdeeds. So I'm hoping for the mercy, I tolerate the reactions. And then what else do you do? So that's like, these two are mental, like, okay, I'm hoping and I'm tolerating. And what's your action? That Hridvag Vapurvir Vidadanamaste. With body, mind, and words, I do service. So you don't stop your service. You keep doing your service. So there is a way to see difficulties as mercy for us, practitioners, sadhakas. There's an exercise which I like to share with you, which you can practice and it works. When some difficulty comes to you, you write down 10 reasons why you're grateful to Krishna for this happening to you. I'll give you an example. My friend, his computer broke. So he wrote down, "Thank you, Krishna, for breaking my computer, because now I will not forget how to write with a pen. Thank you, Krishna, for breaking my computer, because now my brain will get more exercise. Thank you, Krishna, for breaking my computer, because now my body will also get more exercise. I will appreciate nature more. Thank you, Krishna, for breaking my computer, because now I'll get a new computer." And after he wrote 10 reasons, the computer started working. Because when you are grateful for something, then it changes the whole atmosphere around you and it attracts positive energy. That happened to me. I was in Sweden. I couldn't get access to internet, so someone was helping me, and they made a mistake, and so I couldn't finish my whole internet program on my computer. So I called my son in USA. It was midnight. I said, "Mom, it's midnight." I said, "I need technical support." So he told me what to do. Step 1, 2, 3. I said, "Okay, step 1, 2, 3. I tried step 1, 2, 3, didn't work. Then I wrote, 8 reasons why. I got up to 8 and I fell asleep. Then I had a dream middle of the night how to do it. And I woke up the next morning. I did 1, 2, and number 3 I didn't do right, and I did it right, and my internet worked. But anyway, it can be worse than that. There can be other things. You might have difficulties in relationships. But you need to be grateful. And when you think the reasons why it's good, that changes your whole consciousness. Like one seminar I did, one devotee, she was in Sweden it was. And, in Sweden, internet, everything works, the lights don't go off. But it happened that the electricity went off for her. Of course, it was at the farm, so that could be. So she got angry. And then she remembered, oh no, the homework is to write 10 reasons why. So when she wrote her 10 reasons, then she lost her anger. And she became grateful for what she had. So, yeah, this is a way to change the energy around us. When difficult things happen, then we can be grateful to Krishna. And Kunti was grateful. She was grateful when all the difficulties came, because then Krishna came. So we can also do that, but don't pray for calamities. Yeah, they will come. You don't have to worry about that. I know a friend who did that, and she's broken every bone in her body, and still breaking. And she takes back that prayer, but don't do that. But do appreciate Krishna in the difficulties. I'd like to share with you one thing, which this happened. There, like Bhakti Swami is talking about violence in the world. So there is. This is a letter from one devotee in Ukraine who was there when the war started. I'm going through a very severe test now, and I will start my story from the beginning. 32 hours before the start of the war, people began to receive strange SMS. The war was starting, and they had to leave the city. On this day, we had an evening chanting the holy names of the Lord in the temple. My spiritual guide and I approached someone for instruction on what to do. We did not hear anything in response. The next day, explosions were already heard. We did not sleep all night. In the morning, I called my spiritual guide, and she invited me to her house. We also took another Mataji with a child and settled with her. Then 3 more families came to us from the outskirts. As a result, there were 18 of us. 3 days later, electricity, water, and gas were turned off. We had a minimum supply of food and water, but we were very lucky, and Krishna provided us with plenty of food. We were at the right place at the right time. A large wholesale store was opened for the military, and we took out a large amount of products. We were able to get through to some more devotees so they could also stock up on food. We delivered food to everyone we could while it was possible to somehow move around the city. We collected rainwater and snow. We assigned duties, cooked prasad, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and sang Kirtan. In this way we lived for 2 weeks until they started bombing us from planes. Not far from our house there was military equipment and guns, and so there were explosions. The first time a shell hit nearby, but the house survived. We were very scared and took refuge in 2 tiny rooms where there were doors, narrow but high windows, 2 safest rooms in the house. That night, about 5 air bombs fell nearby. We thought we will not live until the morning. The last bomb fell so close that all the glass flew out along with the frames, the doors, only the walls remained. In the middle of the night, we ran to hide the children in a small basement with our neighbors, while we ourselves remained in our house to wait for dawn. Gathering everything that was left, periodically running to the shelter, we freed the cars to go to other devotees who were hiding in the basement house. Under explosions of bombs, we barely left the house and moved safely. The brave devotees went back to the house to pick up a large supply of food and returned safely. We were very shocked. It was creepy and scary. Only Kirtan saved us from this state of terrible fear. For several more days we lived in this place. Every day more and more devotees came to us. Then information came, 1 checkpoint was bombed, and several devotees, including myself, ventured to go to Berdyansk. Thank God we succeeded. We called back the remaining devotees, and they left on our way in the morning. We came under fire on the way at a checkpoint, but we were not hit, and we managed to leave. So then she talks about being received by devotees, and they're going to Denmark. She said, I tried to accept the situation as it is without getting involved in politics. I tried to think about Krishna all the time, especially when it was very scary, but it was very difficult. My mind turned off even during heavy bombing. I chanted physically, but in my mind I could not even imagine the appearance of Krishna. Everything was not clear. For a moment everything was blurry, only fear. I took this fear as karma for all the living beings I killed. The opportunity to be cleansed and pray, sincerely pray, having removed all the masks. Shortly before the start of the war, I had a dream about Srila Prabhupada. Many devotees were standing in a semi-dark room opposite Prabhupada's murti, when suddenly I saw steam coming out of his mouth. He breathed, got up, and went into the crowd. All the people rushed after him. A stampede began. Prabhupada turned around with a very sad and worried look, looking into the distance. I thought it was the end of life. We will all leave the body, and Prabhupada came to pick us up. But after we didn't get a single scratch from the bombings, I realized Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, and all devotees are protecting us. Also, the fact that you mercifully gave me shelter at your lotus feet added to my confidence. So this is her guru. Krishna does not leave his devotees. So everything material fell off in an instant. Only grief for my mother, sister, and nephews bothers me. I don't know what is happening to them, so they're not devotees. It brings great suffering. I pray every day they are safe, fed, and whole. Everywhere we are accepted and cared for. So we have a lot of realizations. The brightest is we finally understood what the material world is like and what we would do if not for Srila Prabhupada. A lot of everything superfluous has fallen off. Stupid desires, aspirations, all this has lost its sweet meaning. So, when you're ready to die, you don't care about all these things. And these people don't have cancer. Faith intensified. Krishna shed special mercy on us and took everything away, leaving his holy names, which are everything. In contrast, I felt sweetness and intense joy while chanting, putting everything in the hands of Krishna, even if forced. I am grateful for this experience, although it was very painful. But I intend to continue serving Krishna and all his servants with even greater enthusiasm. Thank you very much. By your grace, I have acquired many valuables. In this war, I was born as a servant of a servant. This most important event in my life overshadowed all adversity. So here's somebody who saw the mercy of Krishna. That she felt like, now, like just like when you die, you don't care about all the material things and desires. So that all went away, and only the holy name remained. And I see Maharaja is doing that from what I hear from the updates. He's just listening and chanting his 16 rounds. And everything else is just going away. He's left it behind. And so that's what we will all be forced, unless we do it before. So it's better to do it before. Better to do it before. I also had near-death experience when I was 2004. It's almost 20 years ago. They gave me an overdose of anesthesia. I was supposed to go in for half an hour. I was there for 4 hours, struggling to breathe. And so I think why they gave me an overdose is because I wasn't going unconscious. But I wasn't conscious of them. I was just conscious in my own world. But my own world I was like an atom or a molecule. I know what it feels like. Everything was black, and I had no identity. Talk about forgetting. I forgot. I lost my identity as a human being, as a devotee. No desires, just like a little atom or molecule. Everything is black, and you're there, and that's it. Just everything went away. So there I am in the dark, and all of a sudden, I see the holy name coming in front of me, like a screensaver, in multicolor, in English. And I'm looking, oh, Hare Krishna. I didn't have any senses, but I started chanting. Well, yeah, that was Krishna's mercy. And so as soon as I started chanting, then my identity came back. Oh, yes, I am Narayani, I'm a devotee of Krishna. And it looks like I left my body. And how come I'm in the void? How come I didn't go back to Krishna? I was upset. What am I doing in the void? I don't have material body. I don't have subtle body. Everything is black. So yeah. Then I started to pray in Sanskrit, which I don't know. And I just remember the beginning of and end of the prayer. Oh my Lord, now I'm here again in this place. Means maybe I was in the void or somewhere or in the material world before. And then then I remember the end of the prayer, Sharanam Prapadye, I surrender to you. So that was my prayer in the void. And then I slowly came back to consciousness. And I saw I thought it was some cities, like I was out in outer space somewhere. And I thought, okay, I'm coming back to Earth. And I saw some highways. But it wasn't highways, it was my body. All the nutties, there's like these, yogis know, there's these pathways. I saw that and I went inside. I went inside and then my eyes opened and I couldn't see, but I could understand that day had turned to night and something was wrong. And I was on oxygen and heartbeat and all that. And so I could hear doctors saying, so how are you? Do you have any pain? I said, what happened? I wouldn't let them go. That's all I kept saying. And then they told me, oh, he gave you a little extra anesthesia. Anyway, within limits, not my limit though. And they said you were struggling to breathe. So anyway, yeah, there are many, many realizations I have from that. One realization I can share with you is that if you have done devotional service to Krishna, even you may forget Krishna at the time of death, Krishna doesn't forget you. So that's one. I mean, there's so many that could go on and on, but I won't. See what's the time. Oh, we got plenty of time. We can finish reading. Before we finish reading, are there any more comments, questions on that? So I give you 2 examples of mercy. That was mercy for me. Yes. Oh, Agurkuli. What is your name?
Oh, my name is Tosi Toshin.
Tosi?
Toshini.
Goshini?
Toshini.
Toshini.
Yeah.
Tosi Toshini.
So yeah, I like that. It's incredible with how everything, like it manifests more and more, like everything unfolds more and more. Like, yeah, karma can seem to be like bad, but at the same time it can be like seen as a mercy, so we learn more. And it's difficult, like when everything goes well, it's easy to forget. It's easy to be in the comfort zone and then think, oh, maybe I can enjoy it more. But then when something happens, like minus gratitude, then it's easier to come back to say, okay, I understand something, this is my karma, I have to learn something. This is my realization too.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Suffering,
Yeah.
it's easier to just let go whatever else, and just
Yeah, there's a little prayer one of my friend shared with me. My Lord, nothing is wrong. When something crazy happens to you, my Lord, nothing is wrong. Krishna, you are perfectly in control. What lesson am I supposed to learn, my Lord? Tell me, what lesson am I supposed to learn? So that's one prayer you can say when something difficult happens to you. Yes?
I'd like to share something on your exercise about writing.
Oh, okay.
It was during recent Bhagavatam class. I forgot the name of the speaker.
Mm.
But he also said Prabhupada told us to write every day.
Mm.
And after some time, when you read again what you wrote, and you realize actually all these things happened to me is Krishna's arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we can accept the difficulty as mercy. So
Okay.
he also shared similar point as you shared.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Also on overcoming the obstacles by tolerating and then sitting it through, as you quoted that verse from Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this is one of my favorite verses, and in the end it says, if you do that, you don't have to worry because now liberation has become your rightful claim.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, we have, that is Lord Brahma's prayer
Mm.
in 10th canto, chapter 14.
Give it to you, Mukti, Padesada, it's your
Yeah,
birthright.
yes, it's your, you just have to stay alive.
Yeah.
That's all. But I mean, staying alive means hope against hope for mercy, tolerate, and do service. For devotee, that's what it means to be alive. Yes?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Just talk about mercy. I remember that when Bhakti Swami Maharaj went through the same experience leaving his body, many devotees were approaching him for mercy, for initiation, and as I heard also Maharaj had the same, and they were giving mercy. And I just wish to ask you that, normally we have to go through so many things before initiation, and some souls get this special mercy, so that if you can comment on this, how to understand it, and then do you have any advice for those devotees who received initiation like this for the future?
Well, there's different kinds of mercy. There's sadhana, and there's kripa. So kripa siddhi. So some devotees just get mercy like that. Like Prabhupada, we didn't have to take the disciples course, or all we had to do was stay in the temple for 6 months, which was enough. If you could stay in the temple for 6 months, and there was no discrimination, because in the temple, everyone was living like brahmachari sannyasi. Grihasthas were in the temple, but they were living just like brahmacharis and sannyasis. And we only got like 4 hours sleep, and we're out on Harinam 10 hours a day. Plus, I was on the typing Bhagavad Gita. That was a 24-hour, so I had a 4-hour thing on that, 10 hours in Harinam, and then like 3-4 classes every day we had to. So it was enough 6 months and then another year of that and you get your Gayatri. And so it was quite, it's mercy, but you did something for it too. You worked hard. So these people who get this special mercy, they must have done something to get the special mercy. And some people have to go through all the tests and the exams and all that and get your initiation. And some people, there are many cases like that. Not many, not a lot, but there sure are many. So, but we cannot expect to get an honorary degree. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you have to work for it. I just saw His Holiness Jayapataka Swami got an honorary Bhakti Vaibhava certificate. So, but we cannot expect if we go to Mayapur, they will give us one like that. No, you have to earn it. So he earned it in a different way, and we have to earn it in that way, perhaps. So yeah, you may look at them and say, oh, how come they got it and I didn't get it like that? So that's called envy. Oh, they got special. And I had to go through all this work. Pass the exam and do this. And no, you also got the mercy too. You also got the mercy. Yeah, rules have changed. So if you were born during Prabhupada's time, then you would get, but there was special mercy that we had to really, we gave our youth for Prabhupada. That's why so many brahmacharis, they got married at the age of 50, 40, because when Prabhupada was here, there was emergency situation, and you had to give up everything. There was one who was a member of a band, I remember, and he owned all the equipment of the band. So when he became a brahmachari, the brahmacharis from the temple went to his band and took all the instruments and sold them when he became a devotee. Oh, so many stories like that. Because we had to give everything to Krishna. We didn't have any money or anything, even if we were grihastas. So difficult. We didn't have children, but those who had children must have been difficult. Yes?
I'm talking about the power of the holy name and Srila Prabhupada's mercy.
Power of the holy name, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, in case you can't hear.
Once there was proper remembrances in Srila Prabhupada's quarters.
Proper remembrances, okay?
So the story was related by Mother Shamsuni Prabhu's Malati Mataji.
Malati.
That she was very sick once and she was in a comatose condition.
Malati was in a coma.
And the doctor said you should call all her relatives because she's going to leave.
Okay.
So they did that and the devotees heard about it. So the devotees went and they just showered with so much mercy. Mayapur, this mercy, Tulsi Devi's garland.
So she got a lot of mercy from Mayapur, Tulsi Devi's garland, prasadam. Because she was supposed to leave, the doctor said. She wasn't going to stay.
And they also had the tape of Srila Prabhupada.
Tape Prabhupada playing.
Chanting. And then she says she was hearing everything.
And she said in the coma, she was hearing everything.
They were saying that, oh, now, this person came, now that person came. And she says, she kept hearing Srila Prabhupada's voice, and she said that everybody is hearing, they're all chanting, and Srila Prabhupada is chanting. I should also chant, so she started chanting.
Yeah, so she heard Prabhupada chanting, devotees chanting, she thought, I should also chant.
And of course, the doctors were so surprised.
The doctors were surprised, but she became okay.
She sat up one day.
She sat up.
To tell us the story also.
Right.
And then she says she went to the temple because Radhanath Swami.
She went to the temple.
That where do you want to go? So she said she opted to go to West Virginia, New Vrindavan.
She chose New Vrindavan.
And she says when she entered the temple, then she hadn't seen the deities for a long time because she hadn't seen the deities for a long time. She went to the temple. And so
She saw all the deities around the junction. Came to Prabhupada.
And she says that, everything came back. And she says Prabhupada came to life.
Prabhupada came to life.
And he said, and now all this nonsense has to stop. 3 times he said it.
3 times he said, now all this nonsense has to stop.
And then he, went back to his samadhi form, and she says it had such an effect on her.
Had an effect on her.
And then she, started ladies. She was actually the president of the Columbus.
She started a ladies started a temple in Columbus.
And
she was the president.
It was amazing how many devotees she made from that.
Okay. Any other things? Yeah, I can finish. Am I in the right? I'm in the wrong one. Okay, so here we go. If one is fortunate to get a moment's association with a pure devotee of the Lord, this will be their greatest benediction. Sadhu Sangha Shastri Koi, Lavamata Sadhu Sangha Sadhu Siddhi Koi. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that even by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. This is the real purport of being a survivor. A genuine survivor is one who can say, I am a survivor of Krishna's and pure devotees' special mercy. Yeah, I'm a survivor. All other areas from which we think we survive and free ourselves from difficulties are only temporary, because death will still find a way to defeat us. For the most fortunate jiva who is traumatized by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, he is permanently affected in the most glorious way. Such a soul can be a part of the transcendental support groups that are commissioned by the Lord and his eternal associates. They have many realizations, experiences, and pastimes to share with each other and with all who are fortunate enough to get their association. I, the beggar, pray, one day I can say that I am a recipient, a survivor of the blessings of prema from the Lord and his pure devotees, who are the authorized carriers and distributors of such mercy. I, the beggar, am praying to be divinely traumatized by the mercy and love of the Lord and his pure devotees. There you go. So that's the real meaning of a survivor, is that, yeah, we survived the special mercy. But yeah, when I was preaching in Russia, in Moscow, one person asked me, I'm scared if I chant Hare Krishna, then Krishna's going to take everything away from me. And I said, don't worry, you're not ready for that. That's another Maharaj just gave class, can't remember which one, and he was saying the same thing, that someone said, I'm not. And he said, no, he won't do that unless you're ready. So that man, he had a big business and everything, but then at the end of his life, he was suffering from some disease, and said, okay, I'm ready. Now I'm ready. But it may take that Krishna will take everything away, and that's what happened to these people in the war, in the earthquake also. I've been following that also, and so there was they were searching for survivors, and there was one family of 5 who survived 5 days without food or water under the rubble of the building. And a 2-month-old baby was one of them. And these 5 people survived. And when they pulled them out, the five members of the family, all the people around shouted, God is great, God is great. So they understood it is the mercy of the Lord that they survived. And so we need that mercy. We need that mercy to survive. And we can be survivors of the mercy of Krishna. And so anything else? Yes, in the very back.
Mataji, how do we actually prevent ourselves from getting that mercy?
How to?
How do we prevent ourselves?
How do we prevent? Okay, I have to take this going though. thank you. How do we prevent ourselves? Because we have some attachments. And we feel, if I get the mercy, I might have to give up this attachment. We have, and not only attachments, our anarthas, we're attached to our anarthas too. They're like our defenses. There we have different defenses, and that's our anarthas. And we mask ourselves with these defenses. And so in that way we prevent ourselves from getting the mercy. There's one verse I'm trying to remember from Kunti Devi. And she says 4 reasons why we don't see Krishna, why we don't get the mercy. One is that we're ignorant, and one is we have the intelligence of mudhas or fools. And the other one is that Krishna is beyond our perception. We can't really see him. And I can't remember the first one. We are ignorant. We are ignorant. Yes. This is 1:8:19. 1:8:19. And there are reasons that we are attached. We like our anarthas. They're our friends. Our false ego is our friend. It's been with us for countless millions of births. Very difficult. In Bhakti Tirtha, there's some, I think another beggar book, he talks about the day he said goodbye to his false ego. Very difficult. Go pack your bag. He packed his bags and he left. And the false ego was trying to get him back. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing. We have to pull out the weeds. Srila Prabhupada said we're on the spiritual path, so we have to chant Hare Krishna. At the same time, we have to pull out the weeds that are holding us back. And only you know what those weeds are. I can't tell you. But you can look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, starts around 150 or 151. And there's purports there that talk about all the different weeds. Profit, adoration, distinction, violence to other living entities, which means you don't preach, then you're doing violence. And, Jiva Hingsa. Kutinati, cheating, duplicity. Jiva Hingsan. What was the first one? Anyway, Jiva Hingsan, yeah. Labha Puja Pratishtari. These are the weeds that stop us. Cheating, four defects. We do 4 defects. Perfect senses, we cheat others, we tell lies. Well, I don't know if telling lies is one. Yeah, we're an illusion, that's for sure. Yeah. Anyway, you can look it up.
There's also Madhurya Kadambini.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The Kadambini helps us with that too. You can read that. Mm-hmm.
In Madhya, I think in the same chapter, it says, in the following chapter, it says about how Sanatana Goswami, he freed himself from that jail.
Right.
And he was on his way to meet Mahaprabhu. And he had an assistant who was carrying those gold coins.
Right.
8
gold coins.
They had to cross a mountain. And he was suspecting that
he was suspecting
something is wrong because the landlord is...
Yeah, he's too nice.
Too nice, yes. And he told his son that, how many coins you have? He said 7. And he gave all those coins. So by surrendering, by detaching himself from those coins, he actually eventually got to meet Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, he would have been killed that night.
Yeah, he saved his life.
Yes. However, actually Ishan lied. There was one more coin.
One more coin.
And after they crossed the mountain, Sanatana Goswami told, you have one. You have something. He said, yes. So go back home. So
right.
Because he did not detach from that one single coin, Ishan did not get to see the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. Yes. It's painful, like these devotees were saying. They were forced to detach from everything. Like they had nothing. So they're forced to detach. So usually this happens at the time of death, but it may happen before. And we need to be prepared.
Yeah, why does it happen? Like for instance, like something happened to me like past couple of years. I lost the care of my daughter and it was so painful. It felt so unjust with the justice system. The court decided this way. Everyone was like, what? You know, but somehow like I took shelter in holy names and sadhu-sangha and scriptures and really gave me some strength. So, but I'm wondering why. But probably Krishna, like taking personal care, like you coming back or something like that.
Yeah, he forces us, and it's painful. Yeah, he takes away everything. So it sounds to me like you're a survivor of the special mercy of Krishna. That's what it sounds to me. It is special mercy. It's not for everyone. And you passed the test because you did come to Krishna. Otherwise, what is the alternative? What would you have done if you didn't come to Krishna?
I felt like I was going to drag like in a hole, you know, like it was either I was going in a black hole.
Black hole.
Or like, okay, Krishna, you know, I'm ready.
Yeah, so you would have gone to the black hole. So we have that choice. So now we're more or less comfortable. We need to prepare for that. Don't think it can't happen to us. It can. Prabhupada said that to us when he was old, and he said, don't think this won't happen to you. When you're young, you don't understand what it means to be old, have an old body. Gradually, things are taken away from you, slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly. Yes?
Is it really mercy of Krishna or our own karma also? Consequences of our own
Is it the mercy of Krishna or is it our own karma? The devotee thinks, yes, this is my karma. But actually, once you surrender to Krishna, once you take initiation, there's no more karma. There's no more karma. Everything, you're not under the laws of material nature anymore. But whatever happens to you is being given directly by Krishna. It is special mercy because your karma is much worse than what you got. For devotees, we just get a little bit of what we should have gotten. We just get a little bit. We should have gotten so much more. But Krishna is giving us, okay, this is for you, but don't forget me, you know. Come to me now. No, come to me. Yeah, again, tolerate, hope against hope. See the mercy. That's what this exercise, trying to see the mercy in difficulties.
There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, I forgot about, it's due to your past misdeeds, and Krishna is giving you so less suffering. Actually, you deserve more, but I forgot the verse.
Well, I mean, there's the main verse is Sarvadharma Pritija.
Yes.
That aham tam sarvapapebhyo mokshayasami. I'm freeing you from all your past karma. Now, it's very interesting. If you study Bhagavatam, Gita is like the seed, Bhagavatam is like sprouting, like a plant. So there's another verse very similar to this verse in Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada puts this verse in the purport. And Shukadeva speaks it, and he says the surrendered souls, they're Krishna, they are delivered from present and future attachments. So Krishna says, I take away your past. But now Bhagavatam says, also present and future. So it's an upgrade there. So, yes, if we surrender, of course. I mean, we have to surrender. But in the purport, such a beautiful purport of that, it's a prayer of Shukadeva Goswami, 2nd Canto, 4th chapter, verse 16. And that prayer, in the purport, Prabhupada translates, give up all varieties of religion, surrender to me. He translates it in a different way. He says, give yourself to me. Krishna is saying, give yourself to me. It's like a lover, a beloved, not like, yeah, surrender. No, Gita, he's a little heavy. But Prabhupada, he really makes it very sweet for us. Yeah, give yourself to me and I'll take care. Yeah. Any other questions or sharing? Yes?
Sorry. I was thinking how true love can only exist when there's the free will.
Yeah, true love only with free will.
But in these ways it seems like Krishna is suddenly forcing us to love him. So it is almost like...
No. He's not forcing because it's our choice.
Yeah.
See, you could choose to come to Krishna or you could choose to go away. Like some Gurukulis, they chose to go away. It's your choice. So he's not really forcing you to come to him. He's forcing you to make a decision. It's your free will to decide, to choose. So he's forcing a decision. You're going to come to me or are you going to leave me? Are you going to criticize me for my type of mercy I'm giving you? Actually, there's a wonderful purport in, again, Queen Kunti's Prayers 1:829, where it says that some people are reluctant to receive the mercy. There you go. Yeah. So we might be one of those some people. Yes?
I was wondering, like, the quantum of punishment Supreme Lord gives us for being bahirmukh towards Him. The quantum is huge. I mean, for life after life, you have to be here rotting in different forms.
Not anymore. Now you surrendered.
Yes.
If you surrender to Him, again, the story of Maharaja Ambarish in a purport of the 9th canto, chapter 4, Prabhupada said, surrender begins immediately. I mean, protection begins immediately. As soon as you start coming and whatever, you get protection immediately. And so it starts. You already have protection. Doesn't matter if you're 100% surrendered. You get protection. So yeah, I mean, no, if we want to forget, that's our choice. And Krishna, okay, forget. And now as devotees, we think, oh, this is terrible, terrible. To forget Krishna is the worst punishment. Isn't it? And have birth after birth in forgetfulness. Yeah, okay.
We're slightly over time.
Oh, we're over time. All right. Let us all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Narayani Mataji ki
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.